big-time meetings, including a 5-set thriller last year up at Syracuse. Now the rivalry resumes today with Ryan Baker on serve. Back set, the opening swing is dug out by Baker, with Wake running a one-setter offense today in the 5-1. Quick swing for Ava Palm and an opening kill for Syracuse.
Syracuse did a great job being really tricky for the Deacons there. I saw our middle jump up with their middle, leaving it a little, almost a one-on-one situation, but the middle ended up being a little bit too late.
Ava Palm, 5 career double-doubles coming in. And here's Greta Schlittler, the German product. Very diverse roster, 6 different countries for Coach Ganu Saratnam. And that sneaks through the block. First kill for the right side, Olivia Murphy for Wake.
Olivia Murphy has been historically good for the Deacs this year, coming in about 4th on the team with 138 kills, but the Deacons also have a really great spread offense.
Paige Crawford, who's top 10 in aces in the ACC, here to serve. Her service game's really developed from one year to the next. As Palm goes back row. This is Maruska, the Rice transfer on the jump. Back in the middle, nice save, Murphy. Both teams helter-skelter, and what an effort. That was George saving it. Grekovic in the middle, great transition.
I love seeing the middle get run in transition. I think it's really surprising for both teams. And I just love really seeing the arsenal from Maruska during that play.
Maruska and Grekovic, both transfers, one from Rutgers, one from Rice, here for Randy Smart. Crawford, a deep serve. Palmer again, great swing. Ava Palm was held in check, 6 kills against NC State Friday, but a great start tonight.
Very hot start tonight, and that's such a difficult kill to defend. You see, she's 6'1", but she plays more like she's 6'5". She probably touches almost 11 feet, and she can put it down inside the antenna, or inside the 10-foot line.
Here's Veronica Searzant to serve, one of the better setters in the ACC, coming out of the back row. Murphy through the double. And Randy Smart's noted when Wake can feed the right side, their offense is so much better.
Absolutely. Anytime you can get it diversified, aside from Crawford, not that Crawford isn't amazing, but you don't want one hitter to be scoring all of your points.
To your point, Crawford had 60% of the attacks Friday in a loss to BC as Grekovic serves. Where's that balance going to come from? How about the slide for Syracuse? Nice swing from Zaria Harris-Waddy, the New Jersey product.
I love seeing things get run behind the setter's head with the middle. Again, we talk about that diversification of offense, and that's really the personification of it.
There's Ava Palm, the 6th rotation standout. Baker goes near side. Maruska hits the antenna, and Syracuse earns the point. Both clubs, Haley, hit below 100 on Friday. How do they find that offensive success today?
Well, we're going to take a look at this replay really fast. We can see that she overturned it, hitting that antenna first, but I think it's going to be really important for both teams to really improve their passing so they can get cleaner attempts from their setters.
There's a good pass as Baker tees up. George Charles in the middle. Active hands from the libero. Schlittler to save it. Maruska over the double. Good recovery by the Cuse. This is George. Baker back row. And Crawford did not touch hands, so point Syracuse.
A lot of tipping from Maruska. That's not going to cut it here early on in this game. You typically want to open up your deep game, so establish your swing first before you start tipping and rolling.
Palm again. She does have 2 aces a set, been a specialist.
There's
nice
the
recovery
swing
from Schlittler. Crawford to the floor, and the overpass is kept alive. Baker now in the middle. Off hands. Emma Farrell the bump. Murphy deflects. Schlittler again. Huge swing by Waller. Back row and cleared. Best rally of the first set. Murphy down line to Schlittler. Here's George, tight angle. Crawford has it. Maruska into the roof. What defense from Waller.
Amazing play from both teams. I think it was questionable early on in that rally whether there was a carry or not. But take a look here at that roof from Syracuse. Block wasn't quite closed, but they were still able to make it happen. Maruska just not finding her rhythm quite yet.
Fantastic defense from Syracuse. So now Murphy over the double. That's where Syrzant's been. Waller again into the block. Dior Charles, her first route for the LA native.
And don't forget, Wake Forest is 5th in the ACC in blocks with 2.5 blocks per set. So although their overall record might not reflect that, they are a really great defensive team, both at the net and in the backcourt.
When Wake's at their best, it's the block that makes a presence. And here's Drew Lalaji coming in to serve, the true freshman. George over the double and beats the block. Nice swing from the Houston, Texas product.
Not seen a lot of digs quite yet from Emily Farrell. She does have second most digs in ACC play. Freshman Defensive Player of the Year.
Emma Farrell's been amazing. 1,300 career digs. What a weapon for Randy Smart. And now Harris Waddy on serve. Charles on the slide, finds the floor. One block, one kill for Charles.
A little miscommunication that we don't really see often at this level, and that'll put Farrell back to serve.
Wake as an offense hit just 107 Friday in a home loss to Boston College. Julia Haggerty was great at the net. She had 8 blocks, leads the country now in defense. And here's Maruska looking to break that line on serve. Syrzant middle. Charles again active. And what a nice presence.
Charles has definitely woken up the defense at the net. Absolutely love seeing that one-on-one situation go in her favor.
Your Charles and Wake, they'll average 2 blocks a set. Back in system, Miller off hands of Crawford. Page into the block. Syrzant outside. George's touch picked up by Lalaji. Very scrappy first set here in Winston-Salem. Farrell, but a net touch. Charles into the net, point Syracuse.
You win some, you lose some when you're that aggressive at the net, but I love this serve-receive pattern for the Demon Deacons, having basically three defenders in the back row for your defense after the serve-receive. This is a great rotation for the Deeks.
Syracuse has now made a sub. Ashley Naw, the Northville, Michigan product, true freshman into serve. Baker in system, the dump, creative touch from the center.
That was gettable too. You saw Ava Palm a little bit frustrated and a little bit surprised by that, but Ryan Baker has good size and she's competent.
More of a power dump there for Baker.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of those.
So Emma Farrell on the short serve. George goes up off hands. And Randy Smart, who was a setter herself in college, loves the work there from Baker feeding Crawford.
Baker is such a good technical setter. Even though doubles are allowed, it's nice to see she really keeps the integrity of the position. You're right, the sport has evolved now with double touches. It opens up offense a bunch as Farrell goes real short. Syracuse plays it well. Now Baker. Crawford rises and her first kill from the outside. Back-to-back points. I think Ava Palm is starting to get a little bit frustrated in the back. It's about time for her to rotate to the front row, so she shouldn't be frustrated long. Here's Emma Farrell back on serve. Her floating left-handed missile has caused teams problems this year. George the roll shot. I love the creativity there from Skylar George. And that's what I was talking about in terms of Maruska starting with the rolls and tips. It almost gets the other team into a good little system, whereas George established the swing before going into those rolls and tips. George started under Beth Laurie at Utah the last 3 years, but comes in via the portal. 2 points a set, now on serve, and misses long. Dangerously close to an accidental touch there. At least it looked like it from here in person. Only the first service error of the match, and this has the makings of a game where both teams will be aggressive on the service line. And the ACC is notoriously known for service errors because they try to be so aggressive. No conference with more aces and errors than the ACC, with a month left in the season. Oh, the big block of Brickovich. That looks like that's her first block of of the night. Dior Charles already has 2. Maruska has 1. Getting herself on the board.
Brekovic, 80th block of the season. That leads Wake. Now Syracuse playing a little out of system. George the roll shot. Active hands. A little joust, and Baker flies into the net. That puts a setter in a tough spot right there.
It's really tough, especially when your setter's back row. There's just not a whole lot they can do. You just hope that they go up and maybe the middle reaches before and they get called over, but more times than not, that's going in favor of the offense.
Here's Greta Schlittler. Murphy's swing is blocked in. Good hands by Palm. Not just an outside hitter, but a good net presence, too.
A lot of blocking going on this game. I definitely expected some great scrappy defense and electric swings from the outside, but I'm pleasantly surprised with the amount of blocks we've had. 5
total blocks, and we're halfway through set 1. Overpass. Options in system for leader Mueller. And that left hand stays out. A little off on the timing there with Letter Mueller and her hitter.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate touch. We don't see that a whole lot, but sometimes you just get out of system a little bit. The free ball pass is a little tight, and she just couldn't resurrect it.
Letter Mueller had 41 assists against Vatek in the lone Syracuse win this year as Crawford fires a missile long. Syracuse had previously run a 5-1, but Leader Mueller stepped up, and now more of the 6-2 for the Cuse the last 2 weeks. There's setter number 2, Veronica Searzant, who had a double-double in her last match versus NC State. Baker, quick tempo. Murphy's hands active at the net. Wake touching a lot of balls today. Baker pushes outside. Maruska. Great effort. And that's kept in. That was Schlittler all over it. Maruska the touch. Another save. And cleared. Third chance for Wake. It's Murphy. That misses long, but a touch at the net. Point Demon Deacons.
And it looks like that will not be contested. So let's take another look at that dig. Wow.
Schlittler's been everywhere today.
Syracuse really doing a great job extending these rallies. Just hasn't gotten very lucky finishing them.
Searzant in system finds Zaria Harris-Waddy, who had 9 kills when these teams met last year.
And you should get a kill on a middle who's in the back row serving. That's valid for her. A little middle-on-middle action.
How about this? 8 kills, 4 errors for both teams. Dead even on the scorecard. Baker goes middle, and Charles punches it in. It's kind of awkward, Haley, but it works.
The low set sometimes works it out. These are 2 teams whose serve receive has been pretty good today. We'll take a look. I love that she ran the middle. We can see that huge gap, but yeah, it was kind of more like a shove than a swing.
And like walk a flock of flame, a little flick of the wrist. Never hurts. So Charles anchoring the front row as Wake serves. George the touch, and look who it is. It's the flick of the block.
The hang time for Dior Charles to be able to put that down is fabulous.
With a World Series title, Randy's club coming off a tough loss Friday, but emotions remain high for Wake heading into this matchup.
Absolutely. They came out a little slow, but now getting their rhythm together, hitting positive, certainly more positively than they were on Friday night. And really, where I see the standout is the blocking. 4 blocks already in this set.
A Wake team that has been really good at home under Randy Smart. Now searching for a 3rd ACC home victory as there's a sharp serve. Miller out of the timeout, goes through the double. It's been a nice start for Sydney Waller. Just 2 points and a block.
I was going to say that's only her 2nd kill, but she's only had 6 attempts, so I think that's pretty reasonable.
Waller, whose grandfather played in the NFL for 11 years, Dave Waller.
Oh my gosh.
But after missing all of September, she's back here in October, November.
I definitely would not have known she had missed all that time.
Playing real sharp at the net as Maruska hits hands. Ricochets for a point. Sahara Maruska at 5'9" has to find ways to score. That was a nice swing.
I was going to say she was just a little too short to reach that one. That is a tough swing. But Maruska has all the shots. She's a smaller, smarter outside hitter.
So we have a challenge here from Syracuse.
I think this is a really smart time to start using those challenges, even if it doesn't go in his favor, because you only get so many, what, 2 per set, and you get it back if you actually are correct in your challenge. So it kind of can act as an additional timeout. And they're burning through subs and they're burning through timeouts quickly over for Syracuse. So I think it's going to be important for them to use these challenges, but it looks like that'll be in favor.
So it was a net touch violation question, and it was the hair that touched the net, not the arm. And that's what Bakir Gunnesratnam's asking.
I was going to say, depending whether it's high school, club, college, like when I played in college, your hair could touch the net. So.
And there's Bakir, a longtime Temple head coach. Had a really good year at Syracuse in year 1, 9 wins. And last year looking to rebuild, now a brand new roster in 24. One thing for Syracuse, a really nice win over Vaught Tech to get that first conference win. That can matter for a program like this. As Charles goes in system with the new setter, Rebecca Bellows.
I love how she ran that in transition. It is really difficult to run a middle in transition, and even more difficult to run a middle in transition off a pass that's maybe only 5 feet tall. That's beautiful.
Wake runs a modified 5-1 offense, as that serve just misses long. Basically, as opposed to switching setters in the rotation, they'll bring a new setter for the entire that changes an offense a little bit.
Definitely changes an offense a little bit, but she seems to be doing really well with it. I think it looks like Baker might have just been struggling a little bit today, or they might have just wanted a new look to put Bellows in.
Syracuse back on serve with Ashley Naw. Bellows teased Ricks and touches hands at the net. Layla Ricks, the Maryland transfer, swinging early.
And we can see Bellows kind of hangs as that back row setter. And normally Baker will go front row for her. They're about the same size, but Baker's just so athletic up at the net.
Here's Emma Farrell. We've seen that float serve cause problems. There's an ace. Farrell real crafty with her serve. She now has 20 of those this year in a timeout. Look at that celebration. Emma Farrell feeling it.
They got the cheerleaders behind them and everything. The band is here today. Great energy. Let's take a look at that ace right in the seam. And really that theoretically should be Palm's ball. If they're doing seams, how you traditionally do seams is you do it towards the server.
And
but
Haley,
every
your
team
husband
does it different.
is a pitcher in professional baseball. It was a knuckleball. It literally has.
It is like a
good luck
knuckleball.
trying to return that thing.
I know. Whenever I persuaded him to play volleyball, I have to relate every hit is like every pitch. So I'm like, okay, a hard swing is like your fastball, then you got your knuckleball, your curveball, you know, your rolls and all that. Volleyball and baseball definitely have a lot in common. Up until 2 years ago, Wake Forest volleyball actually had the same strength coach that they used for Wake Forest baseball, women's golf, and dance as well. So it wasn't until 2 years ago that they got their own strength coach.
Give me a sense, because you played libero at the highest level. When you're returning a knuckling serve, what's the key to getting those balls up?
Wait as long as possible, which sounds weird, and don't move. Stand and wait and analyze the ball and make one move to the ball. People who play libero are typically smaller, super athletic people, and they want to move 100 times before the ball comes to them and make all these micro adjustments, which is going to cause them to swing their arms and shank. The best thing to do is wait for as long as possible, make one move to the ball. So let's see if Syracuse is going to be able to execute that.
I love the education from a former team captain here at Wake and Haley Brooke Weiss.
I try my best. I try my best.
Yeah, appreciate the insight here as Emma Farrell serves it up. Wake on a 6-point swing as George touches hands. Here's Paige Crawford. Great effort by Schlichter to keep it up. Now Crawford into the libero again. Shimau all over it. George bangs the ball off Rick's head. That's a heavy swing from the right.
That is a really heavy swing. I think almost everybody got a chance to take a swing in that play. And that's one of those plays where I'm actually happy that they got rid of the doubles, because although she had a couple of questionable quote unquote sets, they were all athletic sets. They were all great athletic plays.
Skylar George snaps the 6-point swing. Here's Ricks. Syracuse now insistent with Palm Farrell tried it, almost kept it in play. One of the better liberos you'll see in the ACC, probably an inch or two short.
And they've really done a good job keeping the ball away from her. She only has 4 digs today, so they're doing a good job not just feeding the beast and letting Wake Forest get in system.
Rocket serve that's saved. That's an ace. Really good work there for Syracuse. We got a 1-point set.
That was a nice little lucky touch. But those net ones are really tough. They catch you by surprise, and that'll be another timeout. Randy Smart.
Skylar George leads the Syracuse team. 24 aces. And a Syracuse club, you talk about a season of Jekyll and Hyde. Their best start at 12-0 in 14 years. And then it's been a tough sledding here in the ACC. Went 5 against Cal. Had a big win over Vaught Tech. And you've been on teams, Haley, where you've had really good non-con or vice versa. And now Syracuse trying to find their sea legs late in the conference.
Exactly. I was looking at their preseason schedule, and I noticed that not only the skill of the teams that they were playing, but the style of the conferences that the teams they were playing are in is very different than the ACC. I remember when I was in college, we played Penn State, we played Nebraska, we played some amazing teams in preseason, and I might have hated it in the moment, but I liked that when I came to ACC play, it felt almost easier, and I think they kind of had that reverse feeling with Syracuse where, yes, they built up a lot of confidence and were able to kind of get their, you know, lineup set and things like that, but I think clearly it's been a violent transition to the ACC now that they're 1-9, only able to notch a win against Virginia Tech.
The challenge is Syracuse won 2 matches a year ago, right? So you're balancing momentum, confidence, and I give Bakir Ganasaratnam a ton of credit inheriting a brand new roster.
Absolutely. Incredibly difficult, and I'm excited to see what the roster is going to look like in coming years, especially now at the transfer portal. It used to be you couldn't really see a coach's recruiting impact for 3, 4, 5 years. Now you could see a coach's recruiting impact in a season, in 2 seasons, once they kind of get their feet under them. So it's going to be really exciting, and we might be seeing a different Syracuse team here soon.
Ava Palm, the Cal State Bakersfield transfer, anchors the Syracuse offense. Here's Skylar George on serve. Becca Bellows, tough angle. Crawford's roofed. Wow, the setter, Searzant, got her hands on it.
And that'll be that 3rd block of this first set. Syracuse is not making it easy for the Demon Deacons, that is for sure.
The Orange on a nice run, 4-0. Here's George again. Has challenged Maruska. Crawford the touch, into the middle of the campfire.
That's happened a couple of times this game to Syracuse. I'd be curious what this set would look like if they hadn't had so many breakdowns in communication. But one thing I will definitely give them kudos for is their diversification of that offense. Normally Ava Palm leads by leaps and bounds, but she's tied right now with 3 kills.
Ryan Baker targets George. A Wake team with 4 players, 6 or more attacks in this set. That one's scooped out. Here's Murphy. Off hands. Excellent effort, Shimau. And it's flipped. Baker near side. Crawford kept alive. Palm into the back row. Real tight to the net, and it works. Ava Palm picking up 4 kills.
You can really see Syracuse making a concerted effort to keep it in Area 1 or Area 6 for the Demon Deacons, which is their middle back and their right back. Because if you're getting the setter out of the play, they're not going to be able to run the middle, and the middle is going to cause them a lot of issues.
Off the tape, great save. Brekovich in system, and Wake's middles have combined for 6 kills.
As we can see, the middles cause a lot of issues for Syracuse, so they're going to want to shut that down. Now Wake Forest has a middle in the back row. They're switching her to play middle back this time instead of left back. Oh, excuse me. I was looking at the wrong rotation. Ignore me.
1 point difference here in set 1.
Oh.
And an ace extends it. You're never going to be ignored, by the way.
Never going to be ignored.
Too important, but nice serve there for Wake.
Speaking of Paige Crawford. Oh, and that's going to be a timeout.
Final timeout for Syracuse here in set 1. You can certainly tell these programs, right? You play the Goliath sometimes. It's hard to manage it. But you're playing a team of your caliber. Every point's been contested tonight.
It's been really great back and forth volleyball. My only concern is both teams use a high number of substitutions, and you get capped your total number of subs. So I am curious, what is that going to look like here once they run out of subs? Are they going to have setters playing front row who don't normally, outside playing in the back who don't normally? Like, what is that landscape going to look like here at the end of the set? We're going to have to see teams really show how well-rounded they can be.
Race to 25, win by 2, and you get 15 subs per set. Starting to push those numbers here.
Yeah, it's got to be close. Point-for-point volleyball does that, though. It causes a lot of substitutions to be used, which is really the only drawback with using 2 setters in your rotation, which we see both teams doing, but in different ways, is it still is burning those subs. And Wake Forest instituting a new substitution that wasn't really going on the last time I was calling games with having Lalaji on. She's been really helpful defensively for the Demon Deacons.
There's the sound of the Wake Forest band that brings a little bit of juice on a football off weekend, right? You have nothing to do on Saturday, bring a little more energy here on a Sunday.
I like it. They've had really great energy. I told you earlier, the band's here. We have some girls dancing here in the stands. Looks like they caught some balls early on.
That's a fun moment right there. Next generation living it up. Tight first set. Here with 2 clubs fighting for their playoff lives is Paige Crawford on serve. Right into the net. And maybe the timeout worked just right for Syracuse. There's one of the captains, Veronica Searzant. Baker to the middle, and Crawford right into the net. Back-to-back errors, and we're tied.
We can see that set switch over here for the Demon Deacons. Bellows and Baker back in. Baker doing a good job connecting with the middles as a whole today.
Let's see if she's an option in the back again. That one's scooped out. Quick attack. And now Farrell has to flip it. Maruska, what an awkward angle, and it works. Now Palm from the 10-foot line. Crawford knocks it out, and points Syracuse. Ava Palm having a great first set.
Beautiful swing by Ava Palm. That's her 5th kill, and that'll be the 2nd timeout. Both teams have used all their timeouts, so if we're getting any other breakages in the game, it's going to have to be challenges. Ava Palm hitting 273, but again, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. She really normally does the majority of the carrying, so that's why I'm really happy to see Skylar George in with 3 kills. You have Waller in with 2, Harris Waddy at 2. It's nice to be able to see other players contributing, so Wake Forest can't just post up on her and know that's who's getting the ball every single time.
This is a huge set for Syracuse. They've only won 7 sets all year in the conference, and if you drop one of these bonus point back and forth sets, that could be debilitating as a team.
Absolutely. It's really hard to come back from in terms of, obviously, your morale as a team, but they're looking really sharp. I think my only notes for them right now is Harris Waddy. One thing I noticed about her in that last play, she wasn't able to get up on the block at any point. They had a one-on-one block situation every time, and they got kind of lucky that they were able to convert and get that dig to transition swing. But if she's not going to be able to get up in the air and really put up something against their outsides, Syracuse will not have this lead long.
Wake was up big early. They had a 5-point lead in the set, and Syracuse has flipped it. Out of this timeout, a Wake Forest team above 500, but they got a lot of work to do in the next month. Wake will have 5 ranked matchups in the final month of the season.
We just had a new sub come in for the Demon Deacons.
That's Jamie Santer, former beach volleyball player, now in the back row. Searzant to serve.
I'm excited to see her play.
Baker goes to Maruska, right through the hands and tools the block.
And that's that block I'm talking about with Harris Waddy, just leaving too much of a hole. Leaving a foot or 2 at this level isn't going to get it done.
Randy Smart loves the presence of Santer, loves her emotional leadership back there. As Grekovic serves. Now Palm. Tess Grekovic from the middle. Maruska. The roll shot works. That touches the floor, and Wake set point.
So many roll shots from Maruska this set that Syracuse has just not really made many adjustments to be able to pick up. I'm just really shocked and, I mean, pleasantly surprised for her with their effectiveness, but not at this level should that be happening.
Syracuse needs a point here. That goes over. Wake swings for the set. Murphy terminates. Wake comes back and wins 3 straight to end set 1. To serve. Back row attack from Maruska early, as Wake had 6 hitting errors in set 1. There's a block, and it's kept up. No, 4 touches.
I was going to say, I actually don't know how many touches that was. It went so fast.
It does lead to a Wake point. Good hands by Grikovic, who's been battling nagging injuries all month. She's an important presence up there. Two transfers for Wake in the front row out of this timeout. And here's Paige Crawford, a former ACC All-Freshman and All-Conference standout. As Maruska gets beat on the block, good slide from Anastasia Niklikova.
And that's tough. Maruska's size only being about 5'8", against a hitter who's a little closer to 6'4", can definitely be a difficult matchup on the slide.
Schlittler into serve. Here's a back row attack. That one snuffed out. No easy points in set 1. That's the same here early as Crawford dives to the floor. Maruska cross seam. That's picked up. The dump is covered by Farrell. Murphy into the block. Palm is all over it.
Farrell being one of the best liberos in the ACC and the NCAA. You're not going to get a whole lot of easy free balls down on her. Let's take a look at that kill, or excuse me, at that block.
Really active hands. Syracuse 14 blocks. That one hits the tape and lands in. Great serve from Schlichter.
Anytime you can get your team some easy points, especially after kind of a heartbreaking first set, that's really going to help boost the team morale and momentum.
The Syracuse team that was in the bottom third in serving coming in. They've done a much better job today. Pitt leads the conference in serving. No surprise there. As Maruska rockets one and gets hit. That's a block. Clean hands in the middle for Harris Waddy. And what a presence today at the net, Haley.
I think Harris Waddy has really improved even from last set to this set with closing her block. Even if she's not necessarily getting the block touch, she's really forcing Maruska to show her arsenal of shots.
That's a season high 3 blocks for Harris Waddy. And now Wake down 3 points, leads Murphy. Back row George flying in, and maybe a little in front of her there on that set.
A little in front. That was more the type of set you want to give to a men's player in the back. But Syracuse really hasn't been efficient with their back row attacks yet. I don't think they've had a single kill off a back row swing.
Skylar George was not a 6 rotation player at Utah, but has found that role here at Syracuse, and there's a service error. That transition can be challenging, especially hitting out of the back.
You never want to miss a serve after the team gets a little momentum push like that, but this is a good rotation for them. Syracuse back in rotation 1. Not one of their strongest rotations, and they'll give it right back to them.
Both teams playing tag with the net here early in set 1. Really speaks to the tight margins in this match. You noted, Haley, early on, Drew Lalagi has come in as a defensive specialist. She played for the top-ranked team in Georgia, Pace Academy last year, now into serve.
That's a great serve.
Test the back row of Palm. Charles is roofed. Wow, Harris Waddy having a set.
That is Dior Charles's first error. Before that, she was hitting up 429. Let's take a look at that block. Those low, really quick tempoed sets have been doing well, but Syracuse catching on.
Baker, an awkward tip, and it works. I don't know if you call it an attack, but it leads to a kill.
Hey, if it hits the floor, it plays, right? Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, her right hand was kind of caught between a dump and a swing, and it turned into a swat. And sometimes with those bugs in the summer, you just got to find a way to knock them away. 2-point difference here in set 2. Another tool of the block. Good swing from the right side. Sydney Waller out of Franklin, Tennessee.
And that's her 3rd kill of the night. So she'll be tied with 2nd most kills with Skylar George.
You have to like the balance now if you're Bakir Gana-Saratnam. 4 players with multiple kills.
Exactly. And she's hitting .286. So she's not only getting kills, but she's being extremely efficient.
Palm shovels this back in. And here's Baker with options. That goes a bit short. And we've seen the last 3 swings for Crawford. Not what we expect from an all-conference caliber hitter.
Not at all on that play. She's had 11 attempts and now 4 errors. Not her best game.
A deep serve goes long, and Syracuse with 3 errors in the set. Crawford's had double-doubles in conference play this year, but today held to a 0 hit percentage. It's been a challenging start for Paige.
Especially being one of our players of the game to watch, and another place where she normally shines is behind that service line. So I'm interested to see if she's able to kind of pick up the slack there.
Searzant goes back set. Crawford's block helps out, and that's how you find your rhythm.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
I think
Sometimes
that smile, too,
need.
plays a factor. Just the relief effort a little bit as a player.
It definitely releases some serotonin into the brain. Let's take a look at that. Beautiful block.
I'm more of an ice chamber guy. You put me in an ice tank for 5 minutes, but I like what you're saying there. Did that stay in? Oh, it did not.
Just out. You have one line judge calling it in, one calling it out. So I think it was perhaps wide, but lengthwise it was in. And we see a little bit of a scuffle going on between.
Our lead ref had the call there, D. Batchelor, and then the line judges, Amy Milton and Kyle Smith, had different opinions of the call. For those not familiar, each line judge has a, let's call it a 90-degree responsibility.
Yes.
So down line and a cross line. And the far line judge basically has that in-out on the backside.
That's how they keep from having to have 4 line judges. So, oh, we got the green card is out. So reminder, we get 2 of those per set. They'll get an additional one in that 5th set. And if they win the challenge, they get the challenge back, as we've talked about before. When they introduced the green cards in about 2016, 2017, they didn't have that. If you use your challenge, win, lose, or draw, it was gone. So it's definitely progressed really well in the game.
And more importantly, Haley, this is the 2nd challenge for Syracuse. So you lose this, you're out of challenges. Let's see.
Oh.
Does that hit the white? It might.
That was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Let's see.
Oh, man.
I think it tagged.
Can we take a screenshot of that? Post it on Twitter?
And I know we've talked about this before as well, but they have different angles that they're looking at too. So we might be looking at this angle and say, oh my gosh, unequivocally that's in. But they have a litany of angles that they're able to look at to assess the situation. So sometimes it might be confusing, like why when it's so clear, but it might really not be as clear as we think. So let's see this zoomed in.
And that call is officially overturned.
Wow.
Great work by our camera crew, has that covered.
Coach back here, that's point for him.
And a big sigh of relief, you keep that final challenge too.
Exactly.
The caveat to all this, if the match goes 5, each team gets an extra challenge. But that's way down the road. Let's focus on the here and now.
The here and now. But these are really 2 very equally yoked teams in a lot of ways. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was an extended match.
Nice serve from Syracuse, and there's an ace. That's Ashley Naw coming in.
Syracuse's 2nd ace against Wake Forest in this set. Able to get them a few more easy points.
Naw, who's been a serve specialist, double-figure aces, Tess Maruski. Crawford rockets one, and now you see back-to-back good swings from Paige.
Crawford starting to wake up. She should now be hitting officially in the positives with her 4th kill, which also will tie her with Olivia Murphy for most kills in this set. But as a team in this set, they're hitting a negative 182. That's going to be really hard to win.
Crawford and Murphy now with the team leads, 4 kills. Here's George off hands. Baker from the back row comes to Crawford, and another kill. In this second set, Baker's made a point of feeding Crawford early.
And on that, we see Syracuse just wasn't able to turn the hand back in against Crawford. Crawford purposely kind of going for that tool.
You think of what maybe Schaffmaster's doing at UNC right now, leading Carolina, so many kills, so aggressive at the net. Crawford finding that element, and there's an overpass point for Wake.
And that'll be the first ace for Wake Forest in this set.
Wake team that entered in the bottom 5 in aces, but a good by percentage serving team. Syracuse to the floor, that's pushed over. Crawford. Oh, Palm kept it in.
Syracuse very out of sorts right now.
What a block.
Wow.
That's Anastasia Nikolnikova with the left paw.
I love how she stayed so ready, and you saw earlier in that play, it was a one-on-one situation, and she just ran out there and threw a hand up to do something. And I always say it's better to do something than do nothing. Block or play defense, but don't get caught in no man's land not assisting the team.
Over 200 career blocks for Nikolnikova. She played at the College of Southern Idaho last year, and there's a kill for Murphy.
That's got to be quite a difference. College of Southern Idaho to Syracuse in a multitude of ways.
You go from the Yotes to the orange. So like a werewolf to a physical orange. Paige Crawford, who's top 5 in the ACC in aces, to serve. Syracuse shoots it forward. Palm touches hands, point Cuse. I liked how Syracuse responded to the Wake Forest run here.
They're definitely waking up, and I like Palm getting those really big, nice swings on the outside. We're going to take another look at that here. But that's a really tough ball to hit. It's coming from behind and over her shoulder, and she's still able to hit hands on it.
Back in system, Murphy down line does get hands. They say Palm touched it. And now Bakir Ganasaratnam going to use his final challenge.
And I like that he really looked to his players to tell him, hey, did you touch or not? And everybody said no. So that's the time to be honest. When you're just looking at the ref, you might try to fake it. But if your coach is going to burn his last challenge, you better be honest about it.
Yeah, Ava Palm knows he only got one left, so you can't afford to waste it here. The Bakersfield, California product.
And I think coming out of this, let's take a look first. So we see she throws it back.
Did Palm get any hands on this? I don't see a spin. I don't see a change in direction there necessarily.
It looks like a happy little mistake, as Bob Ross would say.
And sometimes you can hear that, though, as a ref, a line judge or a head ref.
A lot of times you can hear it. A lot of times, like, even though you see it looks like the ball might have hit her hand, I think she pressed and missed it because you don't see any finger action. You don't see her fingers shaking. Like you said, you don't see the direction of the ball changing. So I'm going to go with no touch on this one. But again, he'll be able to see the net cam. He'll be able to see some of these higher cams on the other side too. But looking at that, it looks like she pressed down and actually missed the ball entirely, which was what she was supposed to do, since it looks like the ball would have been out anyway.
Yeah, I think you kind of see the ball past her hand as she's trying to reach. Let's see if the refs can piece this all together with different angles.
And I think coming out of this, whether or not they get this point, Syracuse really needs to focus.
Wow,
there
Steven Shepard with the call, and Ava Palm is spot on.
Syracuse really needs to focus on their serve and pass game right now. Their last 4 receptions have been either a 0 or a 1 pass. So they need to stay in the driver's seat serving and score some points here until their serve receive can shake back up.
That's a huge 2-point swing for the Cuse. Back up 3. As Schlichter serves. This is the largest Wake has trailed all match. Syracuse dump. What a
And
save.
that's up.
Baker over. Now that is considered a double touch.
Interesting that they called the double touch on that.
I think since it's an attack.
Because it's the third one.
And not a set. There are some stipulations with the new setting rules.
Because sometimes, even with the new setting rule, they allow it if it's an athletic play. So I would say if your setter's on her knees in a situation like that, that would be athletic, but perhaps not.
We are pro offense on this broadcast. Great serve.
But ball doesn't lie.
Syracuse takes advantage of the challenge. Now up 5. Looking even. Syracuse team in the ACC found a ton of balance today, Haley.
And that's what we were talking about leading into this game, that Ava Palm can't be the only person putting the ball down, because that's going to make their offense really myopic. So it's been exciting to see Ava Palm, 6 kills, George, 4, Waller, 3, so on and so forth. And it's not like any of their hitters are particularly hitting super high. I mean, Ava Palm is hitting a 176, George 143, Waller 125. You really just want to be hitting, obviously in the positive, and around 250 if you're a pin hitter.
Here's a deep serve out of the timeout. Syracuse, its largest lead of the set. Searzant insists on the dump. Great save, Baker. First swing for the former Beach player, Jamie Santer. George.
Oh.
Murphy off hands, kept alive. George has been active. Maruska the touch, and that hits the floor. A really soft dump from Maruska.
Maruska will now be hitting in the positives officially. 18 attempts on the night, or I should say the day.
No easy scores for Maruska today.
No easy scores.
Over ball. Murphy misses long, and Wake misses the transition opportunity.
Both teams right now really struggling in serve receive. The last 5 balls for Syracuse have been a 1 or a 0 pass, and the last 4 of 5 for Wake Forest have been a 1 or a 0 pass. So both teams struggling a little bit.
That's going to send Baker way off her mark. Palm into the block. Doesn't put the point away. Here's Palm. Maruska fights it inside. It's been a hard set for her today. That time, no problem. Sydney Waller the point.
She'll now be tied for second most kills with George. Been hitting really efficiently tonight, and that'll be a timeout by Coach Smart.
Syracuse has come alive in this set, not offensively, Haley, but net presence, rally points. They've been able to jump ahead now by 6.
And they've been great behind the service line. Like I said, the last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of their 6 passes for Wake Forest have been a 1 or a 0. And it's made their offense really one-dimensional. They know they're going to shoot it out to Maruska or whoever's on that pin, and it's really causing Maruska to have this giant planted block on her, and she's trying to swing and get the off blocker out of system, but it's causing Syracuse to become more and more in system. So Wake Forest has to improve that first ball touch to get their middles back involved and kind of keep Syracuse guessing, because right now, again, they know exactly where the ball is going.
A Syracuse team led by Ava Palm, who's well on her way to her 6th double-double of the year. And we noted at the end of the first set how tight it was, right? Syracuse emotionally, looks like the girls have found some friends to dance, but emotionally lost that momentum in the set. But they've come out really well here in set 2.
They've come out really, really well here in set 2. And I think one thing that's kind of interesting to me is their setter has the most number of digs. So they're getting pulled out of system a lot right now, and they're doing a good job forcing themselves to get back into system. We can see Syracuse hitting a 150 in this set. Wake Forest hitting a negative 0.4 in this set. So again, beating themselves more than Syracuse is.
How about Syracuse on serve with a double-double? That dig goes out of play, and a kill for Dior Charles.
And that's what happens when you're able to get that 3 pass that we talked about, and you're able to feed the middle. Again, Dior Charles was incredibly effective in the first set, but really hasn't gotten the opportunity in this set.
Becca Bellows now in its setter in this rotation. Serzant goes middle, little touch pass. Maruska. Nice roll shot, better dig. And Palm blasts it in on the line.
Palm is just doing a great job. I mean, half of her sets have almost been behind the 10-foot line, and she's still finding it. Let's take a look. That is a really tough set.
And the way she
able to
contorts her body there to make contact, that's not easy.
Unbelievable, but that's why she's 8th in the ACC for kills. And she also leads the team in aces.
Good save, Serzant. George knocks it in play. The Cuse fighting. Charles is dug out. Now Serzant goes middle. That's kept up, but over. Back in system. Miller off hands.
Oh.
It falls. What a rally for the Cuse.
Emma Farrell able to get the littlest touch on it, but not really a whole lot of help back there. And this isn't someone you want stuck behind the line. Ava Palm, although she has, well, actually she has 5 digs on the night, all of them being in this set. First set she had no digs, but leading the team in aces, you want to shut her down.
Maruska misses long, and Syracuse is up 8. A real momentum shifter. And another timeout, Randy Smart.
That should be her last one this set, right? But this is the time. I mean, it's 20-12. You only have 5 points. Syracuse only has 5 points to play with before they win. So if you're going to make an 8-point run here to try to tie it up and then make that final push, it has to start now.
The Syracuse team, we noted the 1 win, but they found a road victory over Vautech, playing really good volleyball here in set 2.
And that's one thing people really don't realize by the ACC when you look at the standings is all these teams are really equal. Like when you look at the box scores, even if a team has lost every game in conference, you look at their game against the best team in conference, and a lot of times they're still losing by 2 points, taking a set off. Like the ACC is really, really competitive.
A conference that has more ranked wins than any, and a team with more ranked teams than anybody in the country right now. Especially on a day where ranked Georgia Tech, ranked UNC are battling it out. It is a loaded weekend in the ACC, as always.
As always. Louisville 11-1 in conference. Then you have Pitt 10-1, UNC 10-1. And then you have the quadruple tie with Georgia Tech, Stanford, FSU, and SMU, all with 8-3.
And how about this final? Boston College sweeps NC State today.
Wow.
So come down to the North Carolina area, sweep Wake, sweep NC State.
I didn't have that on my bingo card, but again, it's really just a testament to the strength of the conference. You can't take off any games, even if a team, quote unquote, is bottom conference. You can't let your foot off the gas.
Also, North Carolina, Georgia Tech are going 5. They just went to the 5th set.
Oh, wow.
And here in set 2, Syracuse in control, looking to even the match. Ava Palm goes after Maruska. Charles blasts one to the floor. And how vital are the middles playing here early for Wake?
The middles are lighting up again. We saw them play fantastic in that first set, but they've been really quiet here in that second, which I think has a lot to do with what we're seeing in terms of the score. But now they're starting to run some different things with Dior Charles, doing kind of a B-ball, doing behind the setter's head. I like seeing some different stuff.
There's a punch shot over as Charles now has 5 kills.
Oh.
Serzant has to play that over. Crawford. Down line, Palm has it. Charles again.
Almost looked like somebody might have been in the net.
That ball goes into the net. Wake has won back-to-back points.
Ava Palm has missed every back row attack this set. And it's tough because you want to give your, best hitters the set, but that's just not on for her today. They need to keep it in the front.
Wow, Maruska, really good serve, and Shamau sends it over. Ricks unloads, but long. And a hitting error for Layla Ricks.
She only has 1 kill today. 1 error. She was hitting 250 before this, but again, only 4 attempts. She's not really getting fed the ball very much.
Now Miller on serve. That doinks out of play. 4 service errors for both clubs today.
This is a bit of a tougher serve-receive rotation for Syracuse with both outside hitters and then your libero tucked away in area 1.
Emma Farrell, who's had 2 aces on the float, goes back to work. That one just wide.
Well, they're lucky because they were in row 3 where your setter has to run all the way across the court. Really difficult rotation for them, so they kind of got bailed out.
That makes it a 3-point difference to end the set. And here's serve specialist Ashley Naw into serve. Ricks scooped out. Overpass, knocked down. Grekovic at the net. She's got 3 kills.
Tough play for the Orange. But we see here, this is one of their better serve-receive rotations. We have Naw along with their libero tucked away. You always like when your libero can be in the middle.
Overpass again, and Crawford plays it. Wake serving playing a factor. Also helps to have a former libero with me and Haley Brooke Weiss. She can break down libero positioning.
I'm a little biased. I am a little biased.
But Wake's been intentional not to serve the libero as well.
No, I don't know if she's had even a singular attempt in this set. I know the first set she passed a few, but this set they've done a great job playing keep away.
Wake offensively seen a lot more from Dior Charles in this match, and then Paige Crawford leading the charge in kills as well.
Absolutely. Not as many blocks this set. They had 4 in that first set. Came out really hot. The end of the set stopped getting those blocks that I think was really moving that needle for them. Current set, only 2 blocks.
Yeah, Crawford has 6, Charles 5, and Murphy 5. That's how you draw it up if you're Randy Smart, who's searching for win 77 here at Wake.
Hitting a 0.26 on this current set. Wake Forest is going to want to be a little bit more efficient. I do think they've bailed out Syracuse several times with hitting out. Not a whole lot of net, not getting blocked a ton, but just hurting themselves a little bit. Syracuse, I mean, they do have 4 blocks this set, but 4 blocks plus 8 hitting errors, that's a lot.
Syracuse, who won set 2 years ago here at Wake, to eventually pull ahead and win in 5. These matchups have always been tight. And here's Ryan Baker getting ready to serve. Syrzant comes off her line. And now Wake in system. Crawford to the back. Palm flips it.
Nice.
George punches. Baker went for it. Syracuse 2 points in the set.
And Baker has been great tonight defensively. She's had 5 digs, but it's really tough. She's kind of moving a little bit on defense. She saw the tip, so she came up, then the tip's deep. You get all out of sorts.
You lose track of your feet, and then Syracuse gets the point. Grekovic kept alive by Palm. She'll swing through the double. Farrell saves. That's flipped. Syrzant, the dump down. What a play by the setter.
That was definitely the best setter dump of the night. Let's take another look at that. She's had 4 attempts on it. Excuse me, now 5 attempts on it and 2 kills with it.
Now it's set point for Syracuse. George a rocket long, and now Wake will have to win 6 straight points.
She wanted that easy last point. I get that. Here's another good serve-receive rotation and setter placement, but Syracuse only does have 2 options here, so they're going to have a really great pass to keep it tricky.
Here's Wake's best server in Crawford. Syrzant. That's easily scooped out. Murphy is blocked in. This has to go over. One more chance. Syracuse. Palm blocked in. Set continues. Murphy.
Not the best decision-making by Syracuse on that ball, but when you're a front row setter and you only have really one out-of-system option, and we know the outsides haven't been great in the back row, everybody's going to know where it's set.
6 team blocks for Wake. Syracuse can end it here, but an error extends. Crawford with the ace.
It's the third Wake Forest ace.
Crawford
in
in
this
the
set.
top 5 in aces in the league, and a timeout for Bakir Ganesaratnam.
And don't forget, it was 20-12. Syracuse was up. So Wake Forest scoring about 3 points to Syracuse's every 1. To fight back here in this second set in Reynolds Gymnasium.
Hardest point in volleyball, point 25. Especially for a team like Syracuse, has only won 7 sets all year. Does not make it easy.
Definitely does not make it easy. I'm sure Coach Bakir is talking about strategy in terms of serve receive, who they want to be pinching who, where the seams are, and then who they want to run in offense. In a perfect world, it'd be great to get Syracuse a perfect pass, let her go up and dunk it and be done with this, because they don't really have the options right now. If it's not a great pass, she has to set the outside front row. She's not really doing a whole lot with her middles on slides. I think the middles only run 1 slide this whole game. So it's probably going to be something with the outside or something with the middle in front.
It's a 3-0 Wake Forest run to get right back in the set. The Wake team that you look at 4 and 7 in the league. This is a must-win for Randy Smart's club to have any chance at the big tournament coming up in December. And that being tested by a scrappy Syracuse bunch.
Speaking of scrappy, Syracuse has had 47 digs this match, 24 of them in this set. Wake Forest has only had 14 digs in this set. So not quite looking as scrappy as they have been.
Paige Crawford continues the run. An ace for Crawford.
Crawford single-handedly strong-arming the Demon Deacons back into this set and ultimately this match.
What a weapon. Natalie Foster at SMU leads the conference in aces. Crawford's doing that right now. Back-to-back points. Can she keep this going? Syracuse. Palm is blocked. That's a point. Hold on a second. 2-point difference.
Crawford really targeting redshirt freshman outside hitter Skylar George. It looks like they're pushing her over as far as they can. Let's take another look at that block. A little swingy on the cover. Not a lot of great coverage there. We really only see libero there.
Crawford, good serve. To swing for the set, it's blocked. Maruska blocks the 6-4 pin.
Wake Forest absolutely waking up this set. They do not want to go into any extra sets today.
6-0 swing. Does Crawford have lucky 7 left in the bag? Goes out and the set ends.
Heartbreaking for the Demon Deacons.
Syracuse hangs on for dear life. Another set decided by a swing to NC State and BC. Now we begin set 3 with Becca Bellows in the serve. Syracuse been really good setting up the offense. And Farrell crossed the line.
I like the boldness of Syracuse starting off in that serve receive rotation that gave them just so much trouble.
Yeah, Farrell's asking,
end.
hey, was that on me? But our R2 is saying that Farrell's foot crossed the line.
Interesting. Which does become a safety hazard at some point. People slide and under.
Here's Rex. Whoa, what a rocket. Nice swing from the right.
That's the way to start it off. We've been talking about she really hasn't gotten that many opportunities. That's only her 6th opportunity coming in here in that 3rd set, while Paige Crawford has 17, Dior Charles has 12. Olivia Murphy up at 18. Maruska, 23 attempts.
Rick's last big match was 8 kills against Duke. That was 3 weeks ago, though. As here's a tip. Bellows goes back row. Crawford's dug out. 3 bodies colliding.
A middle setting, too.
Bellows goes Maruska. Shimow the dig. George. Back row long. Syracuse trying to diversify the offense, but just missing there.
Just a slight miss. I did love seeing that dig, and I love seeing a dig to transition kill. But just a little too aggressive there, and we have Crawford back behind the line. I would be a little nervous if I was Syracuse.
Had 3 aces in the second set alone. Just misses long. Wow, mentally, you
That's a
miss
relief
serve
for Syracuse.
to win a set. You miss a serve there. I wonder how you bounce back from that if you're Paige.
You make a great pass here. That's the best thing you can do.
Crawford is 5th in aces, has been really good at the service line. Grekovic, whoa, hangs and delivers insistent.
Wake Forest just does such a good job utilizing those really quick passes instead of bailing out and just throwing them to the outside. I love that they run the middle because there's no way a pin blocker is going to be able to help double block the middle with how quick tempo the pass and the set are.
Grekovic on serve. There's an ace.
Wow.
You don't see too many middles dropping aces, but it works there.
Absolutely works there. And I know for Syracuse, both outsides have had a little bit of trouble serve receiving. Syracuse received a 1.45 last set. You really want to be passing at least a 2-2 as a team.
Now Crawford, deep touch, little collision. Everybody involved, and a kill. Sydney Waller, the point, the sophomore right side.
I love seeing those high hand swings from Waller, just really high volley IQ. She's being really efficient tonight, too. One of the most efficient for Syracuse, hitting a 273, and really anything over a 250 is spectacular.
So Waller and Palm each with 6+ kills. Here's Palm's turn. Bellows from one knee. Waller behind her back. Uncorks a good swing. Now Maruska, the touch. Suzanne middle. That gets through. And Syracuse playing more insistent.
Syracuse made a slight adjustment, I noticed, against Maruska. They're pulling in the pin hitter, and then they're having their middle back kind of do more of a rotational defense where they cover more line because she's been so efficient with those 2 shots. So I'm curious, once they take those 2 shots, what she's going to hit next.
Rex on the roll. They had Harris Waddy leaning. George, great roll shot. Maruska, the thumper, as they call her here in Winston, gets dug out. Palm, another big swing. Mano y mano. Crawford, long. Nice defense, Syracuse.
And Wake Forest should be a little bit nervous that Palm is figuring out her back row swing today. That was one of her better swings in the back. Leading up to this set, she had erred on all but one.
And that rotation is modern volleyball. Heavy swings,
Yes.
lots of touches. Setters running all over the court. And it leads to a ball out of bounds.
Wow, what a serve.
That was Santer to the floor. George into the double. Wow, Ricks and Charles got up there.
Ricks and Charles, I think, is a nightmare to have up against you because when they're in sync on the block like this, there's not a whole lot you can do. You can see it looked like there was a hole, and Charles was just able to really fill that in.
Layla Ricks with her 81st block. Wake has 4 players with 80 or more roofs. Searzant, back set. Little effort here for Santer to the floor. Look at Searzant directing traffic and finds Waller for the point.
Maruska just a hair early on that block. And when you're a smaller blocker, the timing really does have to be perfect. And now we'll see Syracuse with the middle in the back. So this is a good time for Wake Forest to take advantage.
How about 12 lead changes in set 2, or 3rd lead change in set 3?
What a pass.
Charles, that stays it. Oh, no, it goes out.
Just out.
I think I missed that in live
Great
picture.
tool.
Great block.
One of the only slides I've seen slide to kill this match from Wake Forest. Love that play with her.
It takes Hawkeye 2015 vision, because I watched that 3 different times, and I swear that hits the white line, but ruled out. Nikolnikova's dug out. Crawford through the double, and she can break a seam any day.
Right in between Sydney Waller's hands, it looked like. Absolutely lethal. Paige Crawford totaling 7 kills right now.
That was our 20th lead change in a match. As Waller tips, Farrell pancakes, Maruska rolls, Waller blasts in. Great shot cross court.
That spin took it down in because it looked like it might be a few feet out, but the top spin really spun it in. I think it threw Maruska for a little bit of a loop. Let's take a look at that pancake. And Emma Farrell's lefty, so that's her dominant hand. And then that's right on in there.
That's a men's style curling shot too, really difficult. Yeah, Syracuse did not touch that initially, so it's a 4-touch on Wake. You get 3 touches to get it over.
And Becca Bellows coming in at 6 foot, but is still a freshman, still getting her feet under her.
It feels like Bellows was expecting contact there from the middle.
Yes.
And got a little tight to the net.
I think the pass was a little lower than she would have liked. Oh no.
Drew Lalaji going into the bench. She's okay. Those are good chairs. It's not the old wooden chairs you put in the kitchen for Thanksgiving. Nice and padded.
I know, speaking of Thanksgiving, there's going to be some exciting Thanksgiving matches here.
Florida State and Wake the day before Turkey. That one served long. Although personally, I'm more of like a canned yams guy. You give me some yams in a cup, some marshmallows mixed in, I'll eat that all night.
We're still in some of my favorite rotations. I love when we have 3 basically littles in the back. 3 really great defenders. Very scrappy plays, hopefully, to come for the Deacons.
Now to test that back row. Nikolnikova's tipped. Here's George. No hands at the net, so point Wake Forest. Let's see if Bakir Ganasaratnam uses a challenge. I don't think he will.
I think he's about to hold on to those for a hot minute, now knowing that they've extended the game. Let's take another look at that. Slide ball. Great counterflow set.
Yeah,
just
no
a little
there.
long.
Smart decision. Middle's in system. Syracuse feed. Anastasia Nikolnikova out of Ukraine with a great swing.
Nikova hitting an .091 thus far this match, but still getting your middle involved at all. That's only her 3rd kill. Again, really just helps the defense, or excuse me, the offense stay 3-dimensional.
Crawford over that block. Look at George trying a lot of back row attacks today. Grekovic in system, and man, she's been tough to stop.
And it's tough. Sometimes you have to feed the back row. Your Searson, even if you don't want to, because she doesn't really have a whole lot of other options. But that's just not going to be a shot that hits on the floor against Emma Farrell.
2 medals that are dominant. Grekovic hitting 400, and Nikolnikova is 415. That's 2nd in the ACC. Let's see what Palm can do here. Whoa, sneaks it through the hands. Not an easy shot. She calls corner pocket.
Such a difficult set to hit. I know we've talked about a little bit in this match. It's coming from across the court, so you have to track it for a long time, and it's coming from over your shoulder. That's a beautiful kill.
Ava Palm stepping up. She has 8 for Syracuse. Little knuckler dug out. Ricks. So Searson has to play this. Bodies everywhere. Crawford keeps it alive. In system, Farrell to dig. Crawford off the noggin. Great save, George. Palm blasts into Farrell and goes out. What a read by the sophomore DS.
I know, they kind of snuck in that libero switch, didn't they?
Because Schlichter had to think about it a long time.
Absolutely, and I like seeing Syracuse pick up a lot of those tips and rolls and out-of-system stuff that they weren't really picking up at all in the first set and only half the time in the second set. So being a lot more efficient.
This is the scrappy style of volleyball you see from Louisville with Elena Scott, the All-American, going to work. And then a blast in the middle. Whoa, a headshot.
They might need to call out the trainer.
Let's hope Grikovic is okay. But a huge swing from Harris Waddy.
The Demon Deacons may call a timeout here just to give her a moment to breathe. Sometimes you're fine when you get hit in the face, and sometimes you just need a minute to see how you're feeling.
Yeah, part the surprise factor there, and then part how it was teed up. You see Randy trying to talk through it with her senior middle.
I mean, incredible kill, but nonetheless.
More just checking to make sure she's okay.
Exactly. So let's take another look at that.
Yeah, Grikovic is basically coming to the net, and then you really have no chance. Ooh.
It's good that it was on the side, though. It's better to be hit on the side of the face, and you can see a pretty good ball mark. Her face is real red on the one side.
Yeah, sometimes you got to just laugh those off.
I mean, she's laughing. Most people would be crying, so she's doing a lot better than the average Joe.
Grikovic wants it. Rex gets a swing.
I'd be setting Grikovic at this point.
George into Grikovic, and there's revenge. Best served.
I love seeing the bench get really excited for that one, too. Because it is a little demoralizing. I mean, as a libero, I've been hit in the face a time or two. It is demoralizing to get hit in the face, and you want to be able to come back and kind of say, hey, I can do it too.
Grikovic with her 5th block. She had a match this year with 15 blocks, a Wake single program record.
She's tied leading with blocks in this match.
She'll watch a swing here from Maruska. That's blocked. Wow, the battle of the middles. Harris Waddy versus Grikovic. Fun to watch.
The middles have really lit up this set, especially, and we'll see Syracuse go back to rotation 1. I really think the libero switch has made a huge impact for Syracuse.
The defense of Schlichter versus the incredible plays of Farrell. That one stays long, and a hitting error for Ricks.
Which only the 3rd hitting error of this set, but still, you want to mitigate those unforced errors.
We'll take the media timeout. Syracuse with control in set 3. This has been a battle back and forth. We got plenty more in Winston-Salem. Well, the schedule only gets tougher for Wake Forest the next month. If you look at that chart, that's 3 top 25 teams and an NC State club that has a top 25 win. This is a brutal stretch for Wake.
An absolutely brutal stretch. Pretty much everybody that they're playing is ranked, and that's why this game today is so important, because they're going to be a bubble team, and if they want to make it to the NCAAs for the first time in program history, they're going to need to pull out this win against Syracuse.
Right now we're in a battle in set 3. Syracuse is up 4 points, and that match just went final in Chapel Hill. Georgia Tech wins a 5-set thriller over Carolina. So the middle of the league has been really strong this year. Ricks, oh my goodness, bangs the floor.
That was a decent way to come out of a timeout, if I say so.
There are power hitters in this league, and maybe none better on the right side than Layla Ricks.
The only thing is this is a tough rotation to rotate into, because now you have no libero, you have your middle serving, so you might not get as much of a run as you would with another player.
Leading to a perfect swing. Harris Waddy has been stepping up in this set. 5 kills. With her family in attendance today, driving over from Tennessee.
We see Syracuse hitting a 185 this set and a 158 in the full match, so they've definitely had a lot of improvement.
Maruska misses long, and Wake hitting right around 100 in this set. That's a hard way to win if you're Randy Smart.
Maruska starting to rack up the errors a little bit individually, and we'll see that timeout from Randy Smart, but Maruska coming in 5 errors on 31 attempts with only 4 kills, so that's going to put her hitting in the negatives. Negative 032, and being that she's normally one of the higher producers on the team, it's going to be really hard for the other players to kind of compensate for that missing weight.
It is a busy stretch here in the final month of ACC play as we battle Syracuse and Wake today. Here's what's coming up on the network. First of all, Wake Forest is back on TV next week, and then a really fun matchup, Stanford, North Carolina, right before Thanksgiving, and then Pitt Louisville finally gets TV coverage. That will be an excellent match. Could decide the league at the end of the year.
Yeah, Pitt Louisville, if I call out sick from work that day, you'll know why. I'm prepping for my watch party.
Louisville has won the league 2 straight years, but Pitt's actually gone farther in the tournament, so you never sleep on that matchup. That's a good slate on the ACC network coming up in the next month, including Syracuse back on TV against Clemson.
And like we mentioned a few minutes ago, Wake Forest is going to be playing all of them here soon, back to back to back to back. So it's going to be really important for them to figure out a way to take down the Orange, who have only won 1 conference game thus far and lost 10. So to be fair, they played some of the more difficult teams in the conference here, front-loaded on their schedule, but nonetheless.
It's a Wake club that has lost 2 tough matches at home to Boston College and then to Duke. Those were 2 matches Randy said we got to find a way to win those if we want to be a tournament team. Still plenty up for Wake, though. There's a 9-match stretch to go. Same for Syracuse. End the season strong. As Palm serves it. Bellows back in at center and goes to her sweet spot. Dior Charles in the middle.
I love seeing Dior Charles be effective in front of the setter, on an A, on a B, behind the setter, on a slide, on a C ball. It's been really great to see her really show off in all of these different middle slots, which really just shows what a dynamic middle she is.
And for those at home, those are locations that Haley's referring to based on letters.
Yes.
Like the Cookie Monster. We're all coordinated today.
All coordinated.
Drew the Lodgy with the deep serve. George tight into the block. Good hands. Bellows back to Maruska. Searzan's been really scrappy touching balls. Bellows middle. Charles misses. And no hands. Randy Smart wants to use a challenge, and there you go.
Oh, and she immediately used it. She didn't even need to chat. She knew off the bat. So we're going to take a look here shortly to see what's going on. But that's her first challenge of this match, is it not?
It is, and you have 2 to work with, unless this goes 5.
And then they get their additional 1. And again, like we mentioned earlier, you get your challenge back if you're correct. And Randy's change of momentum that they need And now only a 3-point game, which seems a lot more doable than 4. Something about 4 points when you're playing starts to feel really pulled away.
So Lalaji stays in to serve. Searzant back set.
Ooh.
Right behind the middle. Shimau, nice dig. She's got double figures. Palm blast from the back row. What a swing.
I told you Wake Forest was not going to like once Palm figured out her timing today in the backcourt. And it definitely appears that way.
That's a shot that Bianca Bertolino at Georgia Tech perfected in her All-American season a year ago. The back row middle. Palm with double figure kills now. Waddy to serve. Maruska off hands, or sorry, didn't touch hands. That misses. Point Syracuse.
It's going to be the 7th error for Maruska. Just a little bit of a struggle tonight. I think she just has a really large block on her, and I think she's tried a lot of her different shots and maybe is getting a little bit impatient with not being able to find the floor.
For how well Maruska can jump, that size sometimes can even be challenging, hitting over a big block as that serve goes long. She's a freak athlete at 5'9", but it does present challenges as a hitter.
But she's definitely been helping out the team in other ways. Obviously, morale, she's notched 5 digs, 2 blocks, and she's been pretty good in terms of serve receive and behind the service line.
Back set. Farrell got a hand on it. That's not over just yet. Waller off hands at a point, so Syracuse cleans it up.
I did think that one might have been down. That might have earned his last challenge had they won that point.
Yeah, and if you didn't see it right away, the line judge had the call down, but the head ref overturned it, and that's where it got complicated.
That does make it complicated, and if you don't know at home, it's all up to the up ref. They can overrule whatever they feel.
And that's Dee Batchelor, our lead referee. There's a tool of the block for Dior Charles, who gets a fist bump there from Lalaji. I love it.
I love that she's running the slide on that. She was running, getting kills in front of the setter on that B ball. The B ball is kind of in between the outside and the middle set. So it can get in between the block a lot of times. So she's had a lot of great diversity on that.
Nearing a double-double for Charles. Really good match.
It's hard to get a double-double as a middle.
Especially when you're thinking blocks and swings. That one hits the floor. Paige Crawford heating up. She's got 8.
Syracuse quietly changed their liberos again. I'm not sure if they're doing one libero for one middle or if they're just kind of feeling it out. I know that they want to save subs.
Shimau, who played at Temple under Coach Ghana Surratt, and there's been a great dynamic there, and earns the timeout for the Cuse.
I just want you to be able to use your joke, you know, the shim wow. I'm ready for that dig that we can say it was the shim wow dig.
Well, let's wipe with our ShamWow then to Syracuse's upcoming schedule. Of course, the Cuse, it'd be a tough run to get back in the tournament, but there are some matches here that could test the Syracuse club. Number 4, Louisville Friday. It's never an easy start, but Boston College, Clemson mixed in. There's winnable matches on this schedule.
There's absolutely some winnable matches on this schedule, and even if you can't have a winning season or winning in the conference or going to the tournament, you still want to win as many games as physically possible. It's attractive to recruits. It's attractive for you to kind of get that confidence going into the next season, because unless you're a senior or grad student, there really is always next year.
The Syracuse team only won 2 matches a year ago, so this is a huge turnaround. Did not win an ACC match and have played in 3 5-setters this year, so they're making huge strides.
The last time that they were a really dominant team was back in 2017. I know we were talking about that prior, and that was a team that I got the joy of playing against, and I feel like every time I've seen Syracuse, they've always been a really tall team. They've had a lot of foreign implants. They have a really great pipeline from overseas to the States. I would like to know if they are truly the most diverse team in the ACC. I would say yes, but I'm curious in the NCAA. I love that they give players worldwide an opportunity to compete.
5 different countries, 9 different states for Syracuse. I'd argue Georgia Tech's up there too with the Brazilian implants, but right up there. But Bakir Ghana Surratt has rolling here in year 3. There's a float serve for Farrell. George. Oh, creative touch. Her ability to flick that wrist last second hides the shot.
And I just love that she waited until now to do a lot of these tips and rolls. So she's established her swing. Everybody's back on their heels. And now when she kind of pours in those shots every now and again, here and there, it's really efficient.
Syracuse 4 points from the set. Crawford off the noggin. Dump down, a power dump for Syracuse.
Syracuse had a little attitude behind that. I really enjoyed seeing her excitement. It's a tough rotation when she's front row and she only has 2 hitters. She has to get a little creative sometimes to keep the middle honest.
Syracuse, who is an attacking threat at the net, 7 assists a set, gets a nice kill there. Remember, this is a Syracuse team that's only won 6 sets all year coming in. They can feel the momentum of a quality start.
Absolutely.
Because you've played on teams like that at Wake. You've been on good teams, bad teams, when you're not expected to do very well. It's nice to have a good start as the underdog. It's
definitely great to have a hot start. And I think coming out of this timeout, it's really going to come down to Wake Forest maintaining that focus. Last set, they were down more than they were this current set and were able to chip away. I mean, a great serving run, 7 by Paige Crawford. You know, who knows if lightning will strike twice and you'll get a nice little bump like that. But the Deacs need to do a little bit of a better job playing point-for-point volleyball and focusing on what they can control and mitigating those unforced errors. They're doing a pretty good job on the swing errors, but it's the other plays, missing serves, getting aced, little things that start to add up.
Yeah, Syracuse's serving's been really good today. And that's not been a strength of the Cuse coming in, but they found a good time to do it.
Never too late. And that's the beautiful thing about volleyball. It really is any team, any given day. And I know I talked earlier about how close in skill the ACC is from top to bottom. The record for Syracuse can be really deceiving.
Syracuse team had their best start in 14 years at 12-0, but have hit some hard times since. And a match with 21 ties. Look at all the chances for both teams. Great save by Lalaji. And Crawford blasts one through the double. When Wake can return serve well, they're a tough team to stop.
They're definitely a tough team to stop when they get into that kind of rhythm. And we'll see Bellows rotate back. We haven't seen Ryan Baker really at all in this set. We've really been led by freshman Bellows.
Syracuse back in. Farrell takes a blast. She's got 18 digs. Crawford's turn. Down line and beats the block. So Paige Crawford now with double figures.
Paige Crawford climbing back in. She now is tied with Ava Palm for most number of kills in this game. And finally has really improved that hitting percentage, hitting a 214. Oh.
There's an ace for Bellows, and Wake's back within 2. They had a similar run at the end of set 2, but couldn't close it out.
Syracuse just having a little bit of lapse of focus here in this third set.
Eleni Dragani there was on push-up duty for a Wake Forest ace. This one's return. Palm tips. Great effort, Crawford. Ricks. Shimow the bump.
A lot of tipping here.
Crawford tips again. Another save. Palm loads up. Bellows directing. Crawford off the chest.
Wow.
George. Roll shot gathered. Crawford blocked in. Great hands by Nicole Nikova.
I think that's going to be the most pivotal point for Syracuse in this set right here. It's going to be a lot harder to come back. And it looks like Syracuse is doing kind of a DS situation, but with liberos. They have one lib going in for one middle, the other. It looks like...
Just clarifying who's subbing in and subbing out.
Little confusion there. But
so Harris Waddy comes back in the middle, and she's been excellent at the net. And now Schlichter to serve. Off the tape. Bellows Ricks misses long. And here's Syracuse with set point.
We can see Schlichter back to serve, and I think even if they miss this point, Schlichter has been the better serve receiving libero today, so this is a good rotation for the Orange.
Crawford touch, great scoop. Wake needs 4 straight. Crawford is, that block stays in, so point Wake Forest.
Crawford got a little bit lucky because Harris Waddy jumped with the middle and then was a little bit late for her, which again is just great dishing from Bellows to keep them honest. But
much like the end of set 2, Crawford serves it out. Searzant middle. Now Wake with the chance. Maruska. Shimow. Oh, George. Oh, gosh. Let's hope she's okay.
She popped right back up.
Crashed into the Gatorade cart. And
they were moving it, though. They saw her coming. They were moving.
Yeah,
Let's
watch
take
the bench
a look here. You can see that's a tough run.
Still set point for Syracuse despite the effort.
But this is a different serve receive lineup than what we saw against Crawford in the last set. But it was Skylar George who's getting eaten up in serve receive a little bit. And with setter front row, they could push back Palm and hide her.
Syracuse.
Which might be what they're about to talk about.
Wow, this is a literal repeat of set 2. Wake got on a big run to come back.
And I know Crawford wants that point back where she served long on that final point. So I know she's going to be getting it in here when she comes back from the timeout. But this is a great time to try to ice the server with that timeout.
You see the assistant, Akiko Hadiyama, a former Temple standout, talking it over with Ghana Saratnam. Because you're right, I think both alignment and then which libero you put in, the way Crawford serve it, you got to be real precise on serve receive.
If I'm Syracuse, I'm pushing Skylar George out of serve receive, not because she hasn't been pretty nails all night, but just because against Crawford just has her number, and sometimes that happens. So push her out of serve receive, maybe pull back Ava Palm so that she's still on the left and can still swing outside. And you still have your 2 options if you're Searzant. So I'm not sure what we're going to see here when they come out. And then in terms of the Demon Deacons, we've had Bellows in the entirety of this set. Freshman setter, 6 foot, brings a lot of great height, whether she's front row, and brings pretty good defense in the back row. She's had 7 digs. Right now, she's second to Emma Farrell, who's had 20 digs. Emma Farrell only having 4 or 5 in that first set. And then Syracuse starting to hit her a little bit more, and she's picking it up. But a lot of tipping here at the end, too. I'd like to see some more swings. I know the block is really formidable on both sides, but you still got to swing.
Who can put this set away? 3-0 Wake Forest run. Randy Smart's team hanging around late. Here's Crawford. That stays in. Harris Waddy tipped. The cue, swing for the set. Palm blocks. Brickovich denies.
Really tough rotation for Syracuse to be stuck in. Only having 1 out of system, 1 true out of system hitter they can set. Let's take another look at that. You can see there's no way she could have set the middle. That's tough.
A 4-0 Wake run.
And Brekovic with 6 blocks tonight.
Palm into the block. Wrecks the roof. Set point Wake.
If Syracuse has any more timeouts left, they'd be using them. Right about now, Crawford rewriting a different story.
Palm out of bounds, and we're going bonus points in set 3.
Don't you feel the nervous energy right now, at least from Syracuse? I can really feel how panicky it is. I feel like it's not very smooth volleyball right now, but this is a great rotation for them to be in. This is one of the best rotations they could possibly be in.
3 hitters in the front. Now Searzant serves. Bellows. Maruska touches. What a scoop, George. And
that's gonna be
over.
tough.
Bellows backside. Ricks blocked in.
Wow.
Set point Syracuse.
Ricks, that's her 4th error on the night. 3 kills, now hitting in the negatives. Let's take a look at that. What a read by Harris Waddy.
Emotional swings both ways. It's Serzan. Bellows. Maruska tipped. Great dig, Farrell. Maruska rolls. George there. Palm punches. Farrell bumps. Maruska in play. Palm. That's long. Set continues.
I mean, the absolute stellar defensive effort by redshirt freshman Skylar George in middle back, playing a perimeter defense and still covering 15 feet to her right is unheard of. She has been spectacular here at the end.
Remember, win by 2 here in bonus points. Grekovic. Middle. Waddy tipped. Waddy in trouble. Shimau to the floor. That's over.
High free ball.
Bellows. Maruska off the noggin. Kept in and freed. Palm a great save. Bellows. Charles touches floor. What a rally.
It's really become a dogfight here at the end. And as a reminder, it's win by 2, no cap. So they could go to 45, 40, you know, what is it? 45, 43, 47, 45. They could go infinitely long.
Set point Wake Forest. In a dogfight of a set 3. Waller tips. Ricks terminates set 3.
What a play.
Wake trail 23-20. And hold on, we have a challenge. Hold on. Hold a second. Not so fast, my friend.
Hold your horses.
Remember, this is Bakir's final challenge.
And if nothing else, what a great way to pull momentum from this win for the Deacons
So,
if you're Syracuse.
Bakir Ganasaratnam's going to go back a swing and challenge a net touch from Wake. He's challenging did Dior Charles touch the net? Not here, but the previous swing.
Oh, interesting.
So when Charles went up, did she touch the net on that initial block?
Let's take a look.
Yeah, it'd be right here. Oh. Ooh! Okay.
I'd have to see the other angle. I'd have to look at a net cam.
I think her hair did, but I don't know if her arm touched. Nope. That's it.
And that is a wrap.
28-26. Because the team hits close to 190. So they've been held 50 points under their average today.
And that's a lot.
Really good defense as Maruska blasts one off hands, point Wake. How vital are these first 5 or 6 points if you're Syracuse today?
I think it's what helps you get into kind of a rhythm and emotion and get the gel going.
Oh, especially when you're chasing a set, too. Like, this is do or die.
Exactly, and I think Syracuse, at the very end of these games, has struggled to close out.
Ava Palm goes left-handed. Now, the ball hit the antenna, not the Wake player, so it's point Wake. Because all of a sudden, you go 2-0 to 5-0, 6-0, you're kind of out of this match.
Let's take a look. That's a really tough out-of-system set. Rule of thumb is you want to be 5 feet in, 5 feet off the net. So she was kind of given a trap set.
A serving error will certainly help. And sometimes when you're a team and you're giving up points, you're just begging for something to go your way. Jamie Santer served into the net there. Jamie was an All-American on the beach last year from Hawaii. Ricks, high set, and out mistimed the jump. Point Syracuse.
She normally has such a nice snap that her topspin can kind of compensate when that happens, but sometimes if the timing's off, you can't do much about it.
Keep in mind, Bellows has rotated sets essentially with Baker. They've traded off who's been in. It's Bellows now in the 4th. And an ace, Syracuse 3 straight.
But if they don't get the pass, Bellows isn't going to have very much to do.
Just when you thought, could Syracuse maintain this momentum? They've bounced back with 3 points.
I think Ryan Baker brings a little more offense typically when she's up, even though she's a smaller setter. But
Maruska.
Bellows been great out of system.
Nice snap swing down line. We're back even 3 apiece.
Syracuse getting a little warmer.
You go from the intensity of 28-26, match on the line, and you kind of feel this like growing process where both teams are easing into set 4.
Exactly.
Because you played, Haley. Like, the emotion of point 7 is different than point 50.
Well, and your lineups aren't normally the exact same set to set. So you're blocking different people slightly, and you're serve receiving different people slightly. So you have to get a feel for it.
Wow, Dior Charles snaps a beauty down line. She's got 11 kills today.
We see Shimo just not able with that one-on-one situation to get that dig up. But the hitter should win every time there's a one-on-one situation.
Dior Charles 1 kill shy of her career best. That was last year versus Georgia Tech. And a net violation. So Wake back in front by 2.
Syracuse serve receive falling apart here a little bit in the 4th. Interesting that they've pushed out Ashley Na, freshman DS libero. She should be helping out here with some of this pressure.
The net is still shaking from that block. How about Charles? Haley, she's making a huge impact today.
Charles has really turned up. As a middle, she is tied with both Ava Palm and Paige Crawford with 11 kills. And she's hitting most efficiently of anyone with a 5.56, except for Ryan Baker, who did have 2 kills on 3 attempts. But we'll say with players who are offensive pin hitters or middles.
There are some elite middles in this conference. I mean, you think of Kara Kreese at Louisville. She kind of sets the standard. Rachel Fairbanks, a great hitter for Pitt. And then today, at least, Dior Charles putting up an all-ACC kind of performance. Wake back on serve receive. Here's Maruska. Palm plays it well. Searzant back set. Waller finds the seam. Point Syracuse.
I do like watching Maruska does such a good job really making Palm play defense, even when she's in the front row. Like, whenever she's in a pinch, she does a great job doing that 4-to-4 shot, which makes it tough to keep setting Ava Palm when she's always passing.
Maruska had to wait on that set. So Palm takes the blast. No hands. Point Wake. Syracuse now 3 hitting errors early in the set. They got to clean that up as Shimau checks in at libero.
And they only had 8 total last set for reference. So they've almost made half their number of errors in the first few points of this game.
Searzant running all over the place. Another heavy swing, but no touch. And remember, Syracuse is out of challenges for this set, so they can't get any second thoughts.
Nothing they can do.
It was such a high leverage challenge too. I like Bakir using that late in set 3, but you're kind of out of luck now the rest of the set.
Especially since that set didn't go their way.
And they challenged the final point, and Wake won it. There's an ace for Maruska.
We've got to be seeing a timeout here shortly. This is not the Syracuse team we've seen for the 3 sets prior, but it's amazing how the pendulum can swing.
We thought the same thing when Wake scrapped out a first set, but Syracuse came right back in set 2. And Harris Waddy misses the set. And now the timeout for Ganasaratan. We'll take the timeout. Wake Forest finding its rhythm here in set 3. We'll have plenty more next.
18 attempts and only 1 error, hitting a 5.56. As a middle, she's tied Ava Palm and Paige Crawford for most number of kills this game thus far. I'd call that a game changer.
Nearing her career high in kills. And Haley, more importantly, how has Charles been more active? What have they done to get her involved? They've
improved the passing. Really, you can't run your middle if the pass isn't there. So with the passing improving, they're able to have more of a 3-dimensional offense.
It's a 4-point difference here in the set as Maruska serves it long.
Although it's only a 4-point difference, this is one of those differences where it kind of feels like if you're Syracuse, like you're 10 down because the energy is a little bit low. The errors that they're making are a little bit uncharacteristic from the game we've seen them play thus far.
Good hands, Harris Waddy, and Maruska flips it. Waller tipped by Charles. Here's Crawford in front of her coach. George. That one lands in. And Skylar George, 7 kills. It's a heavy swing load for Skylar, but getting involved here late.
Absolutely. And I love seeing her get so excited and bring that energy. She brought such incredible defense at the end of the last set. She just really needs to channel that energy and get her team as hyped up as she is.
Bellows real tight to the set, and that's an illegal touch on Wake. So point Syracuse.
Again, that's what's really tough. I think Bellows is dishing a better ball today, but Ryan Baker at the net is really hard to beat. But you rarely ever, if ever, have a setter that brings it all. And it looks like
challenge here for Wake.
That's going to be a challenge. How many challenges does Randy have left now?
She won her first one, right?
She won the first one.
Yep, so she'll have 2 left.
So she has both.
It's our 5th challenge of the match.
A lot of challenges. And again, if Syracuse wins this and they go to a 5th set, there will be yet another challenge granted to both teams, and that's going to be Syracuse's point.
Wake has 1 remaining. They'll get an extra challenge if this match goes 5. Let's take a look.
Let's see that play.
Yeah, they're saying, did Baker go above the height of the net? She can't play that vertically.
Yeah.
I guess she was ruled just tall enough. Crawford takes care of it. 1 quick swing.
We always say ball doesn't lie, so we're going to have to say maybe it was Wake Forest.
Yeah, you can claim they're her hands at the height of the net, right? And that's where the violation is. Always tough to tell.
I never had that problem as a 5'5" person.
Speaking of liberos, here's Emma Farrell.
She's been great with that short serve today.
Another dig for Farrell. She's got 20 plus for the 10th time this year. A candidate for all ACC again. Brekovic in system, and Bellows feeds her well.
Brekovic really lighting up today. That's her 5th kill on 10 attempts, so she's hitting a 400, and she has 7 blocks, so she has the opportunity to maybe get a double-double today if she keeps it up.
Protein style or animal style? What's your double-double preference? For you Californians out there, you understand what we're saying. Waller. Good play by Lalaji, who's gotten a ton of time today, the true freshman. Speaking of digs, Shimau scoops. Whoa! Maruska to the floor. Crawford off the bump. Searzant goes outside. George down line. Crawford. Back corner in. Paige Crawford, a match high 13.
Both teams just being so panicked, though. During the rally, we see a lot of little miscommunications. Let's take a look at that ball. Thrust across the court, landing just in. And George has been so good at picking up those line balls, but that was just tough.
Look at this ball coming to your screen. And a block for Brekovic. The middle's 8 blocks for Tina today.
That's incredible. A double-double with blocks and kills is truly unheard of, at least in women's volleyball. And she could get really close to that today.
She's got a chance. 8 blocks, 6 kills for Tina. Farrell does it again. Dump. Back row, Maruska. Syracuse needs a point, down 6. Crawford instead terminates. And what a start for Wake here in set 4.
Syracuse's block just got pulled so close to the line, but when the set is wide, they can't hit line, so you have to pull the block cross. Really leaving defense stranded there.
Paige Crawford up to 3 kills per set. She's 1 point shy of Olivia Babcock, who leads the league. 4.5 points. And Shimau's great effort comes up for 9. What's been the difference here, Haley, between first 3 sets and set 4 for Wake?
I think Syracuse came out really nervous. I think they've struggled in serve receive, and it's been really panicky. Like right now, it's been a 5-point scoring run. It could have been 10-8, but a 5-point scoring run is a big hole to dig yourself. Another
service error. What an effort. Punched over. Wake serving playing a factor. Crawford, 1v1. does not get hands, and she knew it. That was a wide open court.
And this is tough. You really need to capitalize when you're given a short serve. Okay, maybe the first one surprises you, but Emma Farrell has served short every single point in these 4 sets. You have to be able to manipulate your serve receive to be able to handle that. And you can kind of see coach getting frustrated on the sideline. You can tell they're kind of talking about that serve receive.
Here's Waddy on serve. Mariska shoots it over. Creative touch. George has to clear. Wake will have numbers. Brekovic to the back wall. Point Wake. And you're right. First contact is really costing the Cuse here.
First contact has been really lethal for Syracuse. Now they have another opportunity. Let's take a look here. Utilizing that free ball. Syracuse just giving so many free balls, giving so many tips. And that's what you want. If you're Wake Forest, I want the other team to tip to me. I want to pass as many easy balls as possible. There's an easy one again, and Crawford up to 15 kills. Nearing an ACC high. What an outing and a timeout for Syracuse. You can see that serve receive breakdown is what's really caused this costly deficit in points for Syracuse. They're really beating themselves, not to going into this match, she had, what, 258 kills. The second most was 164. Wow, the serving continues. 8-1 run. And it doesn't look like there's a lot of subs here on the Syracuse bench that are defenders. I don't see any other DSs here on the roster that are here or even dressed out. It looks like everybody who's dressed out is playing. There's the super senior. Frankie into the match, her first in about 3 weeks. George flips it over. There's Crawford. Swing 43, and it leads to another kill. 16 for Page to them. How dangerous does this make Wake when Crawford's swinging at this level? Wake Forest is pretty much unstoppable when they're able to get all of their hitters going so that Paige Crawford can really be her best. Crawford's having a career outing today. Right in the heart of ACC play, a league with 7 ranked teams. They'll need more of this as Frankie gets the kill, and Wake's running away with set 4. It just seems like it was full panic from Syracuse from the jump. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure going into this set, and Wake Forest has done a great job applying that pressure, but it seems like the most pressure has been applied from themselves, just with struggling with that pass. An ace for Bellows. It's a serving party. 5 aces in the set. 5 aces in the set. That's really tough, and it's really tough for Syracuse too with all of this libero switching. It's really tough to get into a rhythm because the libero is supposed to be the quarterback of the defense. So when you're switching out your quarterback every single play like they're doing, it makes it really difficult to get into a defensive rhythm too. So a defensive serving sub, Ashley Naw comes in. Remember, Syracuse has lost 3 5-set matches in the ACC. They'll need an epic run here to force set 5. Maruska to the floor.
Nice save by Palm. Now Palm takes swing. Maruska to the wall, and that's out of play. Point Syracuse.
Uncharacteristic mistake by Maruska. She's been fantastic defensively tonight. She has 10 digs.
Reynolds Gym is not the place to track those down. A lot tougher.
No, you don't have a lot of space for mistake here, literally.
First 3 sets all separated by 1 point. As Crawford tips and matches her season best, 17 kills.
So we might see a season high here tonight if she's maybe able to get a set in the back row. Unfortunate that she's rotated to the back here at the end of this set.
And then Crawford will take it, looking to serve out another set. Serve. George. Into the roof. Match point, Wake Forest. That's Ricks.
You can see the total and utter frustration by several members of the Syracuse team because Wake Forest has really tightened the nuts and bolts and have made it feel like it's impossible to score.
Match point, Wake. Good serve. George over. Crawford saves for the match. Ricks kept in. Maruska overhands. George. Good effort. Ricks. Not yet. This place is jumping. But the DJ said it's not over just yet. Ricks. Another save.
Oh my gosh.
Back over. Bellows. Maruska blocked. Hold on a second. The album continues. Another dump. That's in.
And it worked.
Not done yet. Nicole Nikova.
Weird, but it works. I don't know if they're going to count that as a block or a kill. I'm watching the stat line to see which way they're going to go with that.
That's
Creative.
an encore that only Syracuse wanted. But the match continues. Match point 2. Off the tape. Hold on a second.
I know her heart stopped. I think mine stopped for her. One of the 7 sins, you never want to miss a serve on the other team's or your game point.
Okay, Skylar George, what do you got left? Match point 3.
She still brought the heat.
Ricks ends it, and Wake Forest wins in 4. Back in the win column, thanks to an ACC high 17 kills from Paige Crawford.
Wake Forest really showing their